Athena Contos and Richard Stiennon. Welcome to the podcast.
Great to be here.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
It's awesome to have you two here. This is the first time in 110 episodes that I feel old. So thank you for that, Athena.
Yes, my 16 years. I'm glad I'm bringing some new perspectives, I guess.
Yeah, you definitely are. And 16 years old, so that makes you a junior?
Yes, a junior. Going on my third year. Looking forward to my fourth every single day, though.
Yeah, cool. Well, congratulations. And so how do we know you, Athena?
Okay, so you probably have heard about my dad from his podcasting and, cybersecurity stuff. But basically just a little bit about me. I'm, as I've already said, a junior in high school, and I'm currently interested in the field of engineering and specifically bioengineering and things like that. And, in my free time when I'm not devoting myself to my calculus worksheets, I work in a biotechnology lab, and I also volunteer at the Oakland Zoo. So some very fun things for me there.
Awesome. Richard, what were you doing when you were a junior?
I'm so old I can't even remember. No, but thinking back on it, so I was a clarinet player. And as my junior year, I was first chair. So I was the band leader. So it was quite a time for me. And as an oral student, I was very stubborn and would push back when asked to do something, like when a teacher asked me to do homework and turn it in. So I got abysmal grades, but luckily I could skate through high school and most of college on the fact that I was really good at taking tests. So I could just, get in the head of the test giver and give the answers. So,
well, looking at your CV, I don't even know where to start. I think it worked out for you. So we just leave it there.
Yep.
But just before we go away from you, though, what was VP Research at Gartner, Webroot, Fortinet, you've been a lecturer, bunch of board memberships, author of the Security Yearbook. What has your favorite thing been?
My favorite thing has been building the Edwin H. Gott. So I was a freshman in college, and I went to work in the shipyards in northern Wisconsin as a welder, which I'd been also taking welding classes all through high school. And so I spent the summer welding the last 1,000-foot ore carrier to be built and floated on the Great Lakes, and it's still out there. So it's the thing I'm most proud of. And I can track it on maps and stuff and see where it's parked for the winter, for instance.
So your favorite thing was within the physical realm, welding.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool. Nice.
Yep.
We're here to talk about, we're going to call it Off to College with AI.
That's right.
Yeah. But what about you, Athena? How do you think about AI and how that's going to affect your college journey moving forward?
Okay, so definitely as a student, AI is something that I'm kind of constantly thinking about, and I feel like it comes up in my daily conversation more than I would like to admit, to be honest, because it's very new, and especially with my engineering friends, it's something that we really like to think about and just chat about, ChatGPT. Anyways, we really use ChatGPT kind of just for fun right now. We'll just test it, ask it random questions, and just see what kind of cool responses it will output, and we think it's pretty cool in that regard. But of course, it's also insanely helpful. I'm the kind of person that if I have a question and I Google it on Google and the answer does not come up on that little search box, I'm always kind of too lazy to actually go on the website and find the answer myself. So basically ChatGPT, of course, it makes that kind of process for any single question that you could actually think of. So that is a really cool experience for us. But at the same time, we are kind of intimidated by the idea of having such a powerful tool just kind of at our fingertips. And I think our teachers have also kind of taken note on that, because a lot of our writing and kind of assignments that require a lot of writing, all of those are done in class, on paper, handwritten. And even back in elementary school, I would hardly ever write full essays handwritten, but now I feel like that's just the normal. just situation, because it is so easy to just put in the prompt copy pasted from our assignment and just have an entire essay written. So our teachers are just trying to combat the use of AI in just like the classroom sense. But for me, I still think it's a little bit exciting to, use it in my own kind of way, just outside of classroom.
So your teacher has kind of combated the use of that stuff just by making you go back to the old days, basically.
Yes, back to the basics. Number 2 pencil, line paper, and just a timer on the screen with the prompt.
Yeah, what do you think about when you hear this, Richard?
I push back against the nihilism and retroactive thinking. Look at this is AI, just as represented by large language models, let alone the other things that are out there. Large language models are the biggest advance in human ability and technology in our lifetimes, and which means that, of course, we're living in lifetimes that include the invention of the internet and the computer. And I go back to, maybe the invention of the transistor. When I was a young person, there was no such thing as color television. And now we're living in, the world that we do. This is bigger than the internet. This is exponential growth in what humans can now achieve with the assistance of a large language model that has been trained on the entire corpus of all human knowledge that's been written. In not just English. It turns out it's been trained on all sorts of different languages and can read and interpret them. So I think schools should be just as, there were times when they didn't allow calculators in class because, oh my God, that's cheating. Instead of grasping them as a tool to really learn math and not get stuck with mathematics, which of course we have now. We've gotten used to that. We're going to get used to large language models being available to us and AIs in different formats also. We have to be teaching that in high schools right now, so that people, there should be prompt engineering classes for juniors in high school, and they could possibly be the next generation of people working in computer science. When I got out of college, I didn't go to computer science, but I used computers in school. And when I got out, I started meeting people who were IT managers. So the management information systems, they used to call it. And these people didn't go to college because they had learned COBOL in high school and got jobs out of high school doing COBOL because it was a hot new thing. And they just could never go back to college because they were making too much money as IT people. The same thing would happen if you were good at prompt engineering. You could immediately get a job at extremely high salaries. And high schools should be teaching that right now because it's going to be just an important part of every person's job.
And just a fun fact for you, Athena, that COBOL people are still making a ton of money that understand COBOL because they're running the IBM mainframes on that, and nobody knows that anymore. But yeah. So your point there, Richard, was that they're doing a disfavor to Athena and her friends by taking that away from them because they should be sort of embracing it. And yeah, exactly. And I tend to agree with you. But that has been a lecturer. You do understand their challenge, I guess, right? Or what do you think it's like on their side of the fence, on the education side?
Oh, yeah, I totally understand it, right? If when I taught at Charles Sturt University in Australia, we had at least one person who plagiarized his essays, and I foolishly assigned essays. Today, I would do it differently. I would say, I would assign an essay to, get ChatGPT to write the perfect essay about this topic and check all the facts and go back in and create citations for the things and quotes, stuff like that. So I would leverage that. It'd be easier for the students. They would still learn it because they'd have to know how to prompt it to get what they want. And they'd have to know what they want, which is the hard part about writing an essay, right? Is define it, know what you want. You want it to cover 3 points and summarize properly, etc. So
No.
I understand the challenge, but hey, how many of us are? I'm a writer, so I think writing is super important, and yet OpenAI is a writer too, and it's got the potential for being better than all of us. I mean, it never makes mistakes. It's grammatic mistakes. It makes errors all the time. But grammatically, you just get the right thing. It's like using Grammarly to write. It's fantastic.
That's what I use it for now, is the grammar, because my English sucks because I've been living in Norway for so long. But so you said biochemistry or something along those lines, right, Athena?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're looking towards like genetic modification of plants. So that's kind of like what my lab is focusing on right now. A lot of plant tissue culture, working in our laminar airflow hood. Definitely killed a lot of plants in there. Still working on some of those sanitation techniques.
Yeah. So how do you think AI is going to affect that? I'm just going to call it AI because we're doing that now. But how do you think that, that this whole new world is going to affect that industry? Which is kind of high tech from before, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. So I've already run into some curiosities with AI within our plant tissue culture lab because we're working on writing our paper for our research that we've been conducting. And, just for fun, I wanted to see like what ChatGPT would say if I gave it the abstract of my of like our research project and just see like what kind of paper it would like shoot out. And honestly, I thought the paper was actually kind of good. And I was really blown away because I was like, no way they know about all of these techniques to sterilize equipment and all of these procedures that, I have done personally. And this computer is just writing about it so eloquently. It was really fascinating to me. But as I was reading it, there were definitely some interesting points that ChatGPT made that I was like, this is definitely not right. But honestly, as a whole, I thought the paper that it made was honestly pretty good, and honestly good to the point where if I saw it just published online, yeah, I would be a little bit concerned because some of the points weren't that accurate, but as a whole, if I just quickly skimmed through it, it was really on par with the main ideas of a lot of other papers I've seen. So I feel my job of just writing out these big research papers could kind of be taken away, and a lot of my work is maybe going to start getting I don't want to say replaced, but there's a chance that AI could just be doing a lot of what I'm already doing better and, of course, much faster.
But you just hinted on it yourself, right? It's not exactly right. There's parts that are...
Yeah.
Is there any other thing by the way, do they teach you the dark side of AI? Is this being taught to you, or did you just pick up that just by using the tool and understanding that it's not perfect?
Yeah, so to be honest, even in my engineering class that I'm taking right now at my high school, where we do a lot of digital electronics, breadboarding, all that kind of stuff, I would assume that we would have been chatting about AI and stuff like that a little bit more, but we really do not talk about it at all, and we kind of just stick to our planned out curriculum, which I think is pretty interesting because I know this is such a new and fascinating thing that I would think our teacher would want to touch on, but we haven't really explored any of it or even the ethics of AI in my classes. So it's kind of just been up to me to, research on my own, hear other people's opinions, and of course, experience it firsthand when I'm, testing things out just in my free time.
And are your friends doing that?
Honestly, friends on both sides of the spectrum. Some of them are just always thinking, no, this whole AI stuff, it's not going to bother me. I'm just going to keep on doing what I'm doing, how I've always done it. But I also have other friends. I'm really thinking about my one friend in my AP Bio class. We work on a lot of projects together, and sometimes we'll just be working in class, and he'll just nonchalantly say, I'm not going to do my work right now. I'll just GPT it when I get home. And honestly, that's a little scary to me because A, he's my partner on my project, but also B, how reliant he is on, GPT. And that might just be his senioritis kicking in. But I think it's a little scary how even though AI is so new, it's already becoming like a regular part of some people's completing their assignment checklist. They just shoot for the AI before, like giving it a try themselves first. And right now there are like AI like checkers that our teachers claim that they use on our assignments, but things always slip through and people are going to do it no matter what. So I think that's a little scary, but I hope that I'll be able to keep some of my morals for as long as possible, trying to keep my work as authentic as I can, before just going for the ChatGPT and not doing the work myself.
Your father would be proud to hear it.
Yeah.
Richard, what happens to us if we get, when we get over-reliant on this technology, or can we become too over-reliant on it?
No, I'm not worried about becoming over-reliant because, a case in point, I was thinking as Athena talked about, you're working with biology and plants, and you've got, presumably, as a researcher, you'll have a goal, right? I want to create a variety of wheat that survives the winter, right? So you'll sit down and you'll lay out a whole bunch of experiments and paths to get there. So what if you go to GPT and ask it how it would do it, and you use its plan for laying out your research and getting there? You're the one who came up with the goal, and GPT helped you achieve the goal. Then perfect. That's great. Now that's aside from the publishing thing, right? Because in academia, it's all about publishing. But in the real world, it's all about creating results. And, publishing is you publish to, let other people get closer, help you get to the results. It's not the same as just developing that variety of wheat that lasts longer in the winter.
The reason I asked that question, I was at a conference in Belgium, and Mikko Hyppinen, he was talking about how back in the day when electricity came, that the society made a choice. Then there's no way back. Once we put everything in electricity, there's no going back there. That's kind of like where we are now, right? Would you agree?
Yep, completely. And I remember going to it was a Cyber Reason conference in Boston, and they had brought in Gary Kasparov, who was arguably the first person whose job was replaced by AI. And, because he lost to Big Blue, and it was like the end of chess. So he had come up with a life philosophy that he can still play chess, but he's going to play augmented chess because he's going to have an AI available to him, and he'll play other chess masters who will have their own AIs available to them. And so the human will do the strategy, the AI will check for mistakes and do all the hard work. I didn't quite buy that. I still don't. Interestingly, obviously, chess is bigger than it's ever been in history. And everybody's got access to chess bots that can help you. And yet, chess is a big thing. So I think we'll come up with this marriage for all things.
Well, the good thing, Athena, is that your future employers and colleges, they're all trying to figure out how to deal with it right now as well. So it's and we're all learning at the same time. We pretty much have the same, unless we work for OpenAI or IBM or Google, we're kind of like on the same level playing field, right? Even my company, we have things like bid work, right? Public tenders. People ask us for our services. We have to compete with a bunch of other companies. It'd be really nice if we just had a GPT to just answer these questions that we've answered a million times, but then we're giving all of our intellectual property. There's a bunch of there's a lot of reasons why people don't go full into there immediately, but it has to happen. I'm seeing you nodding your head. What do you think, Richard?
Yeah, totally. It's almost trivial to do with GPT. You don't have to worry about it training the model so other people can have access to your answers because contractually anyways. Now, if you don't trust OpenAI, then you've got a problem. And I would just go all in and even automate it, put yourself out of business and sell the automation. That's just the only way to go. And somebody introduced a GPT yesterday on Reddit, and it was a persona GPT. And I'm in the process of pivoting from, right now we sell to venture capitalists, right? We've got a tool for analyzing the cybersecurity industry. But we're adding all the products in the cybersecurity industry with the help of AI. And so I created Persona for a CISO because I'm in that process everybody goes through. I'm interviewing CISOs to get their input. What would they like this tool to be able to do? So it took only a few minutes to create a CISO persona, and I asked it, what would it like to see in a product like this? It gave me a long answer with 10 bullet points. The first 3 we already do, and the rest we've thought about and are aspirational. And it's like, we're done. I don't need to talk to any CISOs. It just summarized, the world's knowledge of CISOs and what they would want out of our product. This is going to be the biggest impact on my life because I will, create a product based off of something ChatGPT designed.
Right. So let me put it like this. So you have Athena and her friends, and then you have, a company X and company Y. What happens to those that don't go, put all their eggs in that basket and don't do it? How long is that going to take before they actually feel like fire underneath their feet? And
that's a good question. I wonder. I'm waiting for it to show up in, the world of writing, fiction writing. Right, there will be authors. Someday there'll be a very successful fiction author who leverages GPT to write their books. And wouldn't it be great if your favorite author who produced, a book in the series every year could produce one every 6 weeks, right? Which you could with GPT. And it'll be a while before that happens. But when it does happen, the other prolific authors are going to start wondering if they're doing something wrong and have to jump on the bandwagon.
So do you have any questions for us, Athena, or for Richard, I guess?
Well, to be honest, you've really changed a lot of my opinions about, AI as a whole. And definitely your comment about using the calculator and in comparison to AI, I feel like it definitely is probably it has the potential to just be a household tool that you just easily reach for. And I was just wondering what you think the job, I'm really concerned about my future, and I was just wondering what do you think jobs are going to be like in a couple years once GPT can just kind of replace a lot of the menial tasks that a lot of people do just on their daily basis?
Yeah, I think jobs are going to become much more enjoyable. The drudgery will be taken care of for you, more of it, right? But, man, when I entered the workforce, we still had timesheets you had to fill out. And I know there's still some jobs that have those. Just the forms, the engineering, back when I was an automotive engineer, was a lot of paperwork. And there will be tools that will handle all that for you. So I think it's just going to be more exciting than ever. And trust me, it sounds like you're going to go into a career that has some connection to the physical world, right? And nothing more connects you than biology. So if you're in that field, all this is going to be tertiary and secondary. It'll only help you in your job. Now, mind you, some fantastic discoveries will be made through, instead of what I call alchemy, which is the method a lot of things in material science are using right now. They just try millions of connections of things. Some of the protein folding stuff is like that, to find new proteins and then new chemicals that can be used for treatments and stuff. And AI is doing a really good job of filtering through those really fast. So there's going to be so much work. It's just, we're at the beginning of the age of enlightenment for all sciences, and you're going to be right there. I'm jealous.
I'm glad to hear it.
Getting rid of the boring stuff. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I've at least managed to do with my use of it, right? And
totally.
Use your experience and the stuff that your personality, you get to be a better version of yourself, actually, much more efficient.
Exactly.
Any other thoughts from you two?
I like to push back on the concept of this being the end of the world. I know those who are working closely with large language models are somewhat afraid of general artificial intelligence, where you get something that acts if it's self-aware. Kind of hard to test if it's self-aware, but it'll be hard to discern that if it is self-aware or not. And we'll probably get there, before you get out of high school, Athena. And that is something to be prepared for, just mentally, right? Don't suffer from shock, I guess, that happens in the next couple of years. And be ready, think of what that means for your career and for how you're going to leverage it to better your own life and those around you.
I think from my own experience, just use it. Like you using it and getting the most out of it. Buy that premium. Make your dad buy the premium ChatGPT, right?
Yeah.
Use it, because
Absolutely.
if you're you're still competing with everybody else at your age, whatever. But if you have that sort of knowledge, and you can apply that to your future job, that's going to mean the difference between you and the others. And that same goes for me. And Richard probably doesn't care too much about analysis; it's just fun for him. But it's I at least see it with my friends and the companies I've talked to. If you don't start using that, then you are, per definition, behind.
Yep.
And yeah, cool. Well, do you have any last comments or questions, Athena or Richard?
No, but this definitely improved my vision of, the whole AI in the future. I know a lot of the times, like online, I see the AI is going to take over all of our jobs and, we're going to have a Terminator situation. So I think hearing your opinions really brightened my outlook on this topic.
Good to hear.
It was great, really great to hear, what you're doing in school and what you're thinking about, Athena. We really appreciate it.
It's going to work out just fine. So thank you too,
Thank you.
Mr. Stiennon. Thank you so much. And I would call you Miss Contos, but that'd be kind of weird in this setting. So I'm just going to call you Athena.
Yeah.
All right. So have a great day. And looking forward to speaking to you in the future. Thank you.
Thanks, Robby.
Okay, thank you so much.